This video is sponsored by Fortpunk. Stick around to find out more. Chapter 4, Season 3 was, guess what? ... Bad. It was bad. Hello and welcome back to Creative in Review, the seasonal series where I talk about the additions to Fortnite Creative over the season, and how good, bad, or just plain mid they were. Let's get started on Fortnite Wilds with 25.0. Fortnite's 25th season, doesn't that make you feel old, began on June 9th, 2023 with a pretty controversial update. Event binding became the only available system to link devices in this update, with the channel system of old being removed entirely. This was a controversial change to say the least, as event binding is known to be incredibly buggy and unpredictable, and channels were arguably much simpler to learn and understand. This update also removed community-made welcome hubs, replacing them with the default one by Epic. It's the thought that counts. Yeah, this was also a pretty controversial change, as the welcome hubs were an opportunity for creators to become more well-known and promote their work, and gave creative much more soul when loading in, despite the technical slowdown some would cause. Grind rails from Chapter 4 Season 2 were added, using splines to create a path for it to follow. This is a really cool device and movement feature, and the first device to implement splines from UEFN into the creative toolset, which is a huge step for parity between both versions. The hop flower from the Wilds jungle was added to the bouncer gallery, giving creators more options to make bouncy game mechanics and just looking pretty darn cool. 3 weapons from Wilds were also added in this update: the Flapjack Rifle, the Thermal DMR, and the Kinetic Boomerang. These are some great weapons, with the Kinetic Boomerang being a cool new addition to the Kinetic Item series, and the Thermal DMR having the unique capability to change its function on the fly. 25.10 was largely just small updates for devices like the conditional button and the item granter, but beyond that there were a few new item additions. The MK Alpha Assault Rifle is a reskin of the MK7 from Chapter 3, with slight nerfs and a way cooler design in my opinion. Cloak Gauntlets are a very cool item that turn the user invisible for a brief duration. There's also the Explosive Repeater Rifle, which does pretty much what you'd expect and shoots out explosive bullets. It's really fun. Boar Hair was also added, truly a revolutionary addition. The Summer Escape event brought one new item, the Slap Splash, with an exotic variant. Both a slap-infused variant of the Chug Splash that you throw on the ground to gain some health and refill your stamina bar. Pretty cool stuff. I'd like to take a moment to talk about this video's sponsor. Fortpunk is a realistic MMO RPG set in a cyberpunk future. This is truly one of the most creative, engaging, and game-changing UEFN islands I've ever played, featuring a variety of interesting levels and quests to complete, including vast open spaces to explore, only up-esque parkour sequences to complete, and crazy kinetic battles to fight. With an intriguing story about a world controlled by AI, this island kept surprising me with its content, and it's just so much fun to run around, complete quests, and explore this huge world. You can play Fortpunk with the island code on screen, or with the link in the description below. I couldn't recommend it more. Thanks to GetShot and Fortpunk for sponsoring this video. After Epic took a month off for summer vacation, 25.20 arrived at the end of July and delivered easily the best creative update of the season. Grind Vines joined the Grind Rails as the jungle variant from Chapter 4 Season 3. They work the exact same as the rails, but with a different visual effect, providing some nice variation. 3 wild pod plants were added as devices: the Slurp plant, which heals the player, the Bomb Flower, which launches a small explosion, and the Stink Flower, which creates a stink bomb-like effect. These pods are highly interactable and create some great immersion for maps. The Item Shop portal device was finally released to the public, after being added as a developer-only device back in Chapter 2. It just opens the Fortnite Item Shop, which is pretty alright I guess. Wild's terrain galleries were added, providing a variety of really awesome Chapter 4 terrain pieces, including cliffs, mountains, and inclines to add to the Chapter 4 galleries of seasons past. In addition, Wild's jungle galleries were added with all the new flora and foliage, along with some rocks. This nature is really pretty and much more realistic than previous sets, which is interesting. The Rumble Ruins POI was added as a set of prefabs and galleries, bringing a ton of new ancient temple props. The Shady Stilts POI was also added as a set of prefabs and galleries, completing the absolutely massive jungle collection with new town pieces. And who can't forget the addition of Cyber City Building G, an instant classic right there. The one-shot mammoth pistol from Wilds was added too. This is a controversial weapon due to its high damage output over a long range, but personally, I'm a big fan of it. The final update of Season 3 added content. The Wild Wasps were added to the wildlife device. No one is ever going to use these annoying little buzzers, but hey, it's nice to have them. The Sharp Tooth Shotgun, a weird new version of the pump shotgun, was added into creative in this update. Why does it exist? No one knows, but it sure does. Fast Iteration, a new debug feature, lets creators quickly switch between edit and play modes by speeding up the process. It's really cool. And finally, voice chat support was finally added to UEFN Islands. And that was Chapter 4 Season 3 for Fortnite Creative. It wasn't very wild. This season was weird. It was heavily carried by one amazing mid-season update, whereas the rest of it wasn't great. The lack of new additions combined with some truly controversial changes made this a really poor season for creative. And while 25.20's jungle additions were really great, it's just not enough to save this season from mediocrity. I give Chapter 4 Season 3's Fortnite Creative a 4 out of 10. Here's hoping Season 4 is a little more wild.